Hello, my name is Father Michael Hanifin. I'm the pastor at St. Joachim Catholic Church in Costa Mesa, California, and this is another edition of In Case You Missed It. In the news of late, we've seen how there are some protesters and also some antagonists and anarchists who have taken to destroying statues. First it was Confederate soldiers, then it turned into presidents. Now it seems that they're turning their eyes towards religious statues, especially in San Francisco, as well as in Los Angeles, in La Placita, in Olvera Street. They've torn down the statue of Junipero Sera, who was a Franciscan priest who was a missionary here in California in the late 1700s. Junipero Sera was a very wonderful Franciscan who stood up for the rights of the indigenous people here, not only in California, but also in Mexico. He was born in Mallorca, on an island. He was a professor of theology and philosophy. His greatest desire was to be a missionary. So, with the permission of his order, he went to Mexico, and according to the custom of the day, the Franciscans did not ride on horses, and they did not ride in carriages. So what happened was, when he arrived at Veracruz, he walked to Mexico City. And then he was put in charge of the missions in Baja California. And so he walked there. And then he was put in charge of the efforts to open missions in Alta California, which is modern day state of California. And so, of course, he walked there. And then, of course, he walked up and down the state on several occasions, opening new missions. And his idea of opening the California missions was not to oppress or subjugate the native peoples, but to give them the skills and abilities to be able to care for themselves and build a productive society of indigenous people. And so when the Spanish government started to oppress the indigenous people, he walked all the way back to Mexico City. One of the things I forgot to mention is when he walked from Veracruz to Mexico, he was infected by an insect bite that bothered him the rest of his life. So he was walking around with an infected leg, which must have been terribly painful. But on his journey from California back to Mexico City to work for the rights of the indigenous people, the Indians here in California, so that they would not be oppressed by the Spanish government. And then, of course, he died here in California. He's buried right now in Mission San Carlos Borromeo up in Carmel. He was made a saint by Pope Francis just a couple years ago. So he is not somebody who we should disdain, somebody who we should have rancor towards, or anger, or bitterness, or resentment. He was truly a civil rights leader, not just for himself, certainly not, that wasn't important, but for the people whom he served. And when he died, the Indian people of California, the indigenous population, mourned his death. So today, let's protect statues, especially religious statues, and most importantly, the Apostle of California, Saint Junipero Sera. Thank you very much and have a great day.